It changes the requirements you need to set up for your wireless communication. Let me be clear on this. It would be great to have a challenge where you could all come and bring your own communication algorithms, your own protocol stacks, very much geared towards ITS applications. However, in a multi-vendor challenge, it's just not possible. So I somewhat have the doubtful honor of prescribing these protocols for you, which is not easy. Once again, we've been thinking about which protocols to use. We've also tried to motivate them. Then again, it doesn't mean that they cannot be changed if there is a really compelling reason for doing so. So if the majority of people say, well, no, we don't want this, this is old-fashioned, then please say so in the panel session and we can discuss it. What I want to address are some of the requirements, so the generic requirements we put on the wireless communications. The architecture, this is a further explanation of the slide Eric showed you this morning. We sort of scaled it and made it visible, so I'll just explain what the architecture looks like. Some of the information flows, which I will only present in a generic way, the protocol stack and some conclusions. Now, I've decided to pretty much go into detail on this protocol stack. It might bore some of you because it's too technical, and bore others because you already know what's going on. But it's just to open up the discussion and to know what we were talking about concretely. Okay, I've just sort of started off with a sort of vehicle-centric reference model for wireless communication. You can think of vehicle communication as V2X, and communications go to either sensors or to the person in the vehicle, the driver, to other vehicles, to infrastructure, to some global backbone. I'm sure you can think of other alternatives. For GCDC, and that's the reason why I put it here, we mostly focus on vehicle to infrastructure, or infrastructure to vehicle, which I just, it's just the same thing, and vehicle to vehicle. And the overall vision of this challenge is basically that, especially when you're migrating to these cooperative systems, you will have vehicles that are non-instrumented, that don't have the sensors, don't have the communication equipment. So not all vehicles will be able to join this, and this is the reason why we think infrastructure will play a key role in the beginning. And let me just put the last slide. I think I've put it on a separate slide, but I forgot to remove it here. Unfortunately, communication, for me at least, communication is not the main challenge in the first GCDC. The main challenge is in the algorithms, it's in the sensors, it's in the cooperation, no negotiations, but it's not specifically in the communications. And that's why I'm here to try to fix it. This is the starting point. So, what exactly, in general, what exactly can you, what sort of requirements do you put on wireless communications? Most importantly, I think, of course, you need a certain performance in terms of capacity, latency, residual error rate, frame error rate. It has to be able to deal with the vehicle mobility, or the relative vehicle mobilities. Of course, you need spectrum. It's somewhat underrated issue, but you really need spectrum, enough spectrum for your wireless communications. And you probably need dedicated spectrum, which really narrows down your options. Of course, in general, you need a really scalable system. You will have thousands of vehicles. They will all be communicating with infrastructure with each other. So scalability is a really important issue in the long run. For the GCDC, we can make it ourselves a little bit easier. Okay, there's some other things. Okay, the fifth one, the openness. I think that's really important for the GCDC itself, because you have a heterogeneous or multi-vendor teams. You really need open standards for your communications. It will be very difficult to jointly come up with a new communication standard. Okay, there are some other, you need high reliability, safety critical, these are safety critical applications in the end. Of course, self-organization, self-configuration. You probably need some geo-based communications. Geo-based means something like, I want to send messages to anyone on the same road behind me for like 2 kilometers or something. That's geo-based routing, which is not common in communication technology. Okay, of course penetration is an issue already mentioned in the beginning. You will not always have all vehicles instrumented, so you really need to take that into consideration. You really need to take into consideration the vehicles that are not instrumented. We need something called quality of service. I need to be able to say, well, this traffic, this communications is more important than others. So we need to be able to prioritize the messages. Some, well, of course, security and privacy. It's been stated here. I'm not saying these requirements can be met during the driving challenge, but they are important in general terms. So security and privacy, they are important, especially in Holland. There's a huge privacy, what's it called? Lobby, right? Thanks. Of course, you also want alignment with current cellular networks, like 3G and beyond, and with all sorts of other reference networks, personal networks, personal area networks. So this is a use list. I'm not sure if there's another slide. No, it's a use list. So there's been a lot of activity on setting wireless communication standards, which I will come to later. So the architecture we decided to use is something like this. You've seen it this morning. It's based around portal-mounted roadside units. Because we have this infrastructure to vehicle communications, we really need these portal-mounted base stations. We will have several of them, and using some sort of wireless LAN protocol, we can communicate with the vehicles, and vehicles can communicate with the roadside units. There's a infrastructure backend, which is basically responsibility for us to make sure that it works. There are some servers for logging diagnostics, for constructing the world model, situational awareness model, and of course some organizational stuff for management monitoring. And the GGU that Jeroen mentioned earlier in his presentation is here. It's the black box that we provide that is simply in the vehicle. It will not only do motion estimation and send it to the infrastructure, but it will also overhear the communications that goes on between the infrastructure and the vehicles, or between the vehicles themselves. It's just we're just using all means to log whatever the participants do, so we can have objective judgment afterwards.